This is a continuation of Alcuin's poem De Gallo, the rooster. We have examined the beginning of the poem where the stage was set. We learned about the rooster's character, and then the sort of part of the middle portion where we find out that the rooster went off by himself, and because of his pride, he somehow exposed himself to being snatched away by a wolf that was in hiding. So we will take a look at this section where the rooster responds to the situation. And it sort of starts in the middle of a dactylic hexameter line. Quo pondere pressus, protinus hanque vadendi, sibi rep perit artem. Saepe meas tua fama lupe praefortis ad aures, venit et ignoto monuit rumore, quod altum vox tibi magna sonum claris concentibus edat. Let's just stop there and take a look at this portion. The quote by the rooster finishes up here. Maybe we can finish the rest of it because it's all kind of one idea. Nec tantum doleo in viso, quod de voror ore, quantum quod fraudor liceat ne discere de te, credere quod licuit. And we'll stop there. So the portion begins with quo pondere. Quo is here most likely a relative adjective modifying pondere, which is the word weight, a third declension noun in the ablative case. And then pressus is a perfect passive participle, which literally means just pressed down. And I am assuming that I'm inferring that it describes the gallus, the rooster. So the rooster pressed down by this weight of the wolf snatching him. He's in the wolf's mouth. The rooster, who is being pressed down by the weight of this being in the wolf's jaws, he right away reperit, he found again, he rediscovered this artem, this art or technique for himself of escaping. So ewadendi is a gerund, a verbal noun. So the rooster is in the jaws of the wolf. He's rediscovering this sort of trickery or artifice that he's going to use to escape, and here's what he says. Saepe, I'm inferring, is saepe, often. Tua fama, your fame, your reputation. O lupe praefortis, this is vocative case, he's talking directly to the wolf here. Tu, ad, aures, meas, my ears, to my ears, has often come, venit. That looks like it is probably going to be perfect tense, and so the E would be long there. Venit, and warned, so came and warned with an unknown rumor. Okay, so the reputation, the subject of the sentence is the reputation, tua fama. And the fame or the reputation of this wolf has come to the ears of the rooster. So the rooster is saying that he has heard something by rumors about this wolf. Now he's going to tell us what the rumor was. Okay, so a rumor that, quod can mean that, can function like a conjunction or kind of like a relative pronoun, here a conjunction, that vox magna, a big voice for you, or belonging to you, publishes, and I believe we have quod with the subjunctive mood here as a kind of indirect discourse, that your great voice publishes or puts forth a sonum altum, a high sound, by means of claris concentibus, by means of a famous or amazing symphony. Concentibus is, it's plural and dative, or plural and ablative, probably an ablative of instrument. Puts forth an amazing sound by means of this famous symphony or harmonious symphony. So claris is the adjective meaning famous or well-known. Concentibus is symphonies, harmonious symphonies of sound. So basically the rooster is flattering the wolf, and he's basically saying, I've heard you have a really great voice. And then he goes on, nec tantum doleo. I believe doleo here is to be sorry or to suffer or to feel sorrowful. I don't feel sorrowful so much because I am being eaten by this mouth, and I think inviso here means envied or enviable. I'm not sorry so much because I'm being eaten by your mouth as because I'm being robbed, fraudor, it's passive, first person singular passive. I'm being robbed. It is not allowed, I'm not being allowed to learn about you, dete. Let me get rid of some of this. Liceat ne discaredete. It is allowed not, I guess there's an implicit mihi, it is allowed to me, not to learn about you, that which I was allowed to believe. So it's a very clever Latin sentence. It's kind of wordplay. The rooster's basically saying, I'm not so much upset that you're about to eat me as quantum that I'm being deprived of this opportunity to learn something about you that I was allowed to believe. So I'm not able to learn this about you. I'm never going to know how great your voice is. It's something that I believed in the past. I'm not going to get to learn it. So he's basically trying to flatter the wolf into proving that he has this wonderful voice so the rooster can hear. He's flattering the wolf with this praise and kind of making this stuff up. Okay. So let's kind of continue on and see what happens. So the quote seems to end here. The rooster's done talking. Cuyus is the relative pronoun whose in the singular and genitive, probably masculine. So of whose voice the fierce beast, the wolf, was believing. So the wolf believed this voice. So it seems to be a kind of passive or objective genitive. So the wolf believing of this voice, and the que here means and, it's a conjunction. The wolf, here's our subject, and tumefactus, swelled up with love, here's an ablative of instrument, of the offered praise. So oblatai is a perfect passive participle. It seems to be feminine singular and genitive, modifying laudis, which is praise, third declension noun. So the wolf, he's our subject. He is tumefactus, he is swelled up with the love of the offered praise. So the praise that the rooster is giving him is going to his head, and he's believing it, but he is Farah here I'm not sure of because it looks like it might be feminine, whereas lupus is masculine, so I might have to come back to that. So it seems as though he's believing the rooster's claims, and he is being swollen, it's kind of going to his head, these praises. So here's what he does. So here's our subject, lupus. Everything else was modification of the subject. He aperit, his throat. Infernale, probably something like having to do with the underworld, his infernal throat, the depths of his throat. And que, what else does he do? He, I believe pandit is opens wide or widens. He widens his voracious jaws, his devouring jaws. So the que here is a conjunction. Okay, so the wolf opens his throat and he widens his voracious jaws, and another conjunction, he reserat, I think is a sort of another synonym for widens or unlocks, the penetrale, the depths of an immense cavern. So very colorful language to say, sorry about the background noise there, very sort of flowery language to say that the wolf opened his mouth very wide to demonstrate to the rooster how wonderful his voice is. Okay, let's see what comes next. If I can't figure something out, we'll just stop and I'll continue in another video. But said, so the wolf opens his mouth. We're going to find out what happens next. Keller, masculine singular nominative adjective, probably applying to the rooster, meaning swift or speedy. Keller, the swiftly. The rooster, the praenuntius, this is also masculine singular and nominative. He is the messenger of the light. He is snatched out. He is taken out. A ripitor. ales, I will have to pause and look up. I think it means wings, but I am not sure how it fits into the sentence. So he swiftly is snatched out. The rooster is the messenger of light because he crows when the sun's coming up. So that's just a poetic description of the rooster, like an epithet. Swiftly the messenger of light is snatched out, and ak is another conjunction that means and. With a leap, he flies, and he clings to the branch. Maybe it's a dative, maybe it's in the dative case. He hiret ramo, he clings to the branch of a tree swiftly. So the wolf opened his mouth, the rooster spread his wings, and he flew to a branch of a tree and grabbed onto it, supposedly out of reach of the wolf. Soon, therefore. So I'm going to have to stop and do a little bit of messing around in the lexicon to figure out what potitus means here, and subita, but it looks as though the rooster is going to say something in reply to the wolf, and then at the end we'll get kind of a little moral of the story. So one more lesson.